Good evening, everyone. You guys hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Hello, Gina.
Welcome to another episode, another interview, great interview with Victrola Live tonight. Please invite everyone to come and join us. This is going to be a very, very interesting interview because we have more than one member to this group.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and start you off with Lynn Almanza. Hello, Lynn. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Hi to everybody out there. And Gina, thank you so much for having us on. It's an honor.
You're welcome. Right behind you, I don't want to leave anybody out, but I do want to introduce JC Almanza in the back.
Hi, Dina. How are you? And hello to everybody.
Hello. How about the person right next to you would be?
I'm Jesse Vasquez,
Jesse?
Lynn's husband, Demi's stepdad. This is my best friend, brother-in-law, and we are very, very happy to be with you today.
Can you tell me your name again?
As you can hear on the song, the best drummer in the world.
Yeah, he's. We'll talk about the cardboard boxes in a little while.
Okay. You read the bio, yes.
Yes, that was very comical. I can't wait to get to you.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Dina Madrid with Sirius Tejano here. We're just so excited to be able to celebrate this new song along with the holidays. It's a very nice song to add to your list for Christmas, for New Year's. Nice cumbia. And it brings a lot of good spirits and a lot of joy to this interview. I'm already excited.
So are we.
Lynn, by the way, you look beautiful tonight as always.
Thank you.
Yes.
We have our person who does all of our wardrobe, which is JC. So he said, put on something black, and I was like, I'm doing it. I had a color that was too close to the background of the chair, and I was kind of blending in. So I was like, I better do something different. So here we are.
Yes. Yeah, I still recall going back to the concert and the presentation and the attire and all. So this beautifully said, Lynn. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start with Lynn Almanza. Lynn Almanza is the CEO of a company that is called what is it again? Music, yes.
Music World Latin.
Music World Latin. Yes. And she is it all started off as a hobby.
Yes.
Right?
The music part did, absolutely.
And then it just turned into a labor of love, as you said, Lynn.
Yes.
And when we said music world, we want to add the Latin in there because there is a music world entertainment production, right?
That is correct. Is correct.
Okay.
That is the home of Destiny's Child, Beyonce, so many other artists. Yes. Actually, the company was given to me after working for almost 25 years for the Knowles family. Mr. Knowles decided it was my turn to take a leap of faith and do my thing, and
right.
He gave me the Latin side of Music World. So that's where Music World Latin came from.
And I know there is more to that story because along with the story, we can date back to several years with you and the company, right?
Yes.
The company has they've also entitled you as a vice president.
Right? I am. Actually, I just got another promotion as senior vice president now.
The senior vice president.
Music World Entertainment Worldwide. Yes.
Okay, and so along with that, you have many hats to fill.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going back to now we're looking at Victrola 5, and it seems to be coming all together, as you said, a labor of love because you're putting all your heart into the music as well.
Yes.
You have gone back a ways with a generation of memories, bringing it into the future with contemporary.
Yes. That was the vision. The vision was all the 5 members, just so everybody knows, we're missing 2 members. One is my daughter, Demi, who, just like everybody else in the music business, we all have regular jobs, 9 to 5 jobs. So she's on her way here. And another important member, Mike Garcia, He is a fireman, and he just got called into a fire. So he'll be joining us, I think, when he's done with the fire, saving lives, which is really important. I want to say that moving forward in interviews, it probably will be this way where some of us are here and some of us can't be here because of our jobs, but it doesn't infringe anything on our love for the music or the love what we're doing for Tejano regional.
Absolutely not.
For us, it's such an honor to know and a privilege to be able to write music and put it together. This particular team of people is just incredible talent. We're just hoping and praying that people see the love we have and taking some music that we heard growing up and making it a little bit more modern and bringing it forward.
This interview is going to bring a surprise to those that are joining us tonight, because we were talking earlier about the member of people that you have in the group with all multi-talented, right?
Yes.
And all the experiences that came together after 23 years, right?
Yes.
And just thinking about, okay, where is all this coming from? We see a Victrola, we hear the music, we hear that person that we've heard in other songs, but we don't hear the one that has been there for many, many years back, dating to the 90s. And so let's say myself being on the other side with the audience and saying, wait a minute, well, who is this? I'm trying to figure this out. And I related it to the Jackson 5. Do you know the Jackson 5? No, I don't know the Jackson 5. Do you know who Michael Jackson is? Yes, now I know who it is. So in saying that, Victrola 5 brings a really precious treasure
Yes.
to the air of your family, Lynn.
Yes. Yes. It all started with my mom. It all started with my mother. Aha! And here we are. Here's one of the members of Victrola 5, my daughter, Demi Garcia. A lot of you guys know her. We released a couple of tunes with her as well, and very proud of her. But it all started with my mother, Linda La Norteña, way back when. She started bringing groups here to Houston. She recorded. She was a recording artist. Was nominated, of course, for countless awards, and had her own label. Her label was Disco Papagayo. And what was that?
What year was this?
Oh my gosh!
Late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, late 60s, early 70s. I mean, it was way back when. Way back when women were not allowed to be able to have their own record labels, much less, it was a different time, and she was just a pioneer of bringing this music, in our culture from Mexico to the main audiences, But it started with her, and then Elsa, and my sister Elsa Garcia, our sister Elsa Garcia, continued that legacy with my mom. And did an amazing job, recorded a couple of #1 hits that my mom wrote, and recently just came back after being away from this music business for 25 years, sold out an arena in Monterrey, Mexico, and so proud of her, so very proud of her.
Yes, there's a lot of admiration in all of this and all of you, and it shows in your music.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just it is something new to bring to 2025.
Yes.
And now that you have mentioned Elsa Garcia,
yes,
tell us about Elsa. If some of you guys don't know, this is Elsa's family.
Yes.
They are now represented as Victrola 5. So look out for the name. Listen to the music. It all comes together, and they do. It's a 5-member band group.
Yes.
And it's all in the family. And of course, there's 3 members in the family, right?
There's no.
All of us.
Well, if you're talking about directly related to Elsa, yes.
Yeah.
It would be my sister Elsa, myself, and my brother JC.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, Mike Garcia.
Yes.
And Jesse. Am I correct?
Yes. And Demi. Correct.
Demi, yes. So with that being said, and bringing the the endearment of the music, the words to the music. How do you bring the music together? How do you write the music together? How do you work this? How do you manipulate everything that you do? Are there notes in your archives that you're bringing it from? Is it something that your mother brought to you guys, and you've just decided to do something with it?
Those are all very good questions. I think all of us aspire to be a little bit like my mom.
Uh-huh.
Um, at least I aspire like a lot to be like my mom. I always was there when she was recording in the studio with Alexis de Teran or other groups that she recorded and whatnot. And I remember always was like, where did these songs come from, right? We sang them. We really didn't think about it because we were with her when we were younger and the music was just there. And come to find out, I mean, she wrote so many songs. And this particular song I wrote along with Mike Garcia. And it just starts with a simple melody in my head and lyrics. I go and I called Mike, or in this situation, they were all in the studio because we were already recording other music at the Music World Complex, as a matter of fact, in downtown Houston. And my office was separate from the studio. I ran down to the studio and I just told Mike I have a song, and he says, "What do you want to? What does it sound like? Is it a guitar song or a keyboard song? What are you thinking?" And I immediately told him, I said, I don't know about this one, but you got a guitar in your hand, and our engineer that we've had for over 25 years, Nino Villanueva, who also happens to be one of the engineers from Music World Entertainment, the Beyonce and Solange, her sister, and all them, has been our engineer for 25 years, and instinctively got a cord and plugged up Mike's guitar, sent me and JC into the vocal booth, and I started singing it, and the song came about. It was like in 30 minutes the song was written, but not before my husband Jesse got a hold of it and made sure all the percussion was correct and put the drums in, and and it's now what you hear. And a lot of the songs started out that way, simple little melodies in my head with lyrics, and I'll sing it to my brother and he helps me with the lyrics when they don't make sense, or and I've written a song just Demi and I by ourselves as well. So it's just a team effort. It's an incredible, and it makes it really easy for me. I hear it and they bring it to life,
Do you think there was an emotional moment where, okay, so we just heard the song, ladies and gentlemen, it was in the background, No Importa Llorar. Does that remind you of anything about a relationship, of course?
That one, I think, I do remember I was watching a soap opera and I remember one of the actresses, I think it was on General Hospital, and she said something to the effect, she goes, "I don't care if I cry anymore. Like, it doesn't matter." And it was something that I picked up from there. And then, of course, you take a little bit of stuff from, of course, relationships, for sure. One of the songs, probably the song that we're going to release next, that JC is by himself, is the lead singer for, on that particular song. I wrote about him and one of his relationships, the only relationship probably he's ever had with his wife. So,
Mhm.
just in little bits and pieces. We just work on it until we get it right and make up some of the stuff along the way, as long as
Right.
it sounds right. But the goal has always been to be like my mother. My mother would hear melodies and lyrics at the same time, and she told an entire story in 3 minutes, the 3 minutes of a song. So I think that for me, and I think I feel the same way. I can speak for Demi and all of us, that we just want to make her proud. We just want to make her proud. You
Yes.
know?
Yes, and of course, you say your mother was an inspiration to all of you, and she left that
Yes,
legacy behind. And there must have been that everyday thing. It was just not, oh, let's do it next month or next week or in a year. It's a moment. It seems like you guys all are thinking at the same time about what your goals are for this Victrola 5,
yes.
because everything is coming together. Look at the song. Your mother would be so proud today to hear that, and how you came about it, Lynn. I didn't even know that you were a songwriter.
I didn't either.
I mean, when looking at your bio, you have, oh my goodness, I was like, really?
Yeah,
You a songwriter, arranger, percussion, vocals. Wait a minute, let me see here.
not percussion.
Arranger, percussion, and let's see here. well, of course, we're going to start with your songwriter and the arranger. That's it,
Yes,
and then the executive songwriter for also for other companies as well, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's very interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic because I really enjoy the business part of it. And I'll
uh-huh,
be very honest with you, this song was the only one that I was interested in singing because I just wanted to have something on the radio that I could say, okay, like my mom, she recorded it, she was on the radio. Okay, I want to do that. So I did that and I'm good. I'll just continue just with the writing. It's not,
uh-huh.
to me, I like to be in the background. Elsa can tell you that. I always tell her, as long as I make you look good, I said, then I've done my job. Nobody needs to know my name. It's very important. Same thing I do with Mr. Knowles. People always say, wow, I didn't know that that was you. I didn't know that that was you putting on those shows or those presentations for Mr. Knowles, and I'm like, then I'm doing my job. I like to be in the background. I like the business aspect of it, and the songwriting part of it are mainly what I like to do. So
And also, I was thinking too, being that you were there. Let's say we envision you as a family, and you're kind of leading everybody, so you already have the business part instilled in you.
yes,
How did that? How is that something that your mother had too,
oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah,
or
oh
was it innate in you and her?
yes, I saw her have many jumps. We did. We had a nightclub, and she says, "Hey, do you want to make extra money?" I would be like, "Yeah, we'll charge at the door." So I would charge at the door. Do you want
Mm,
to make more money? Well, when people start coming in, do you want to raffle a liquor bottle and you keep the money? Just give me back my money for the liquor bottle. And so that entrepreneurial spirit was always there.
right.
It was very important to all of us. I think we all have it, including my daughter Demi. Same thing. We just all, I think it's in our genes, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And it takes money to do all this. It's not an easy thing to do. I'm sure that you've had to juggle a lot of things around, and taking care of the finances, the budgets, and
Yeah.
the music, everything that comes with it. So it is very important to have a business person, and I commend you for that, Lynn.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dina. Thank you for
Oh,
that.
you're
I'll tell
welcome.
you what, it came in very handy when we were putting this, the budgeting part of it, getting
Uh-huh,
us back on stage, which I couldn't have done it with everybody who's here and Mike as well.
uh-huh,
The support that I get from my husband when I'm writing a song, my brother, when I'm like, hey, what do you think about these lyrics? And he'll be right in the middle of work because he happens to work
uh-huh,
for our other company.
mhm.
So I'll go down there in the middle of his day and say, what do you think about these lyrics, Hermano? And he'll say, no, you need to do this, or no, we can do this, or you can add a bridge to it, or add another chorus to it, or whatever the case may be. But very, very helpful. When I can't find a way to sing the words out, I always turn to Demi. Demi's the one that'll immediately pick up the piano, or I think this is what you're listening to, Mom. I think this is where you're going with this, because I don't write music. I just hear the melodies. I don't know how to write notes or anything like that.
Now, is this a moment in time when you're all together as a family and hanging out maybe around a campfire, in your kitchen, at someone's house, or are you calling up each other and tell, okay, this is what I'm thinking right now? Is
It's
this
both.
something that
It's all
happens?
of it, right, you
It's
guys?
like she's driving in the car and she starts to sing us a song,
Yeah.
like in the
Most of
middle of
the
traffic or something. Yeah.
most of the songs.
And then you add another note, right, JC? And then the tip of
Yes.
and
Yes.
then your harmonizing voice just tends to break a glass, right?
Yeah. I think most of the songs that the ones that I've written, not the ones that Demi's written, but the ones that I've written have all been written to a turning signal. I just drive with my turning signal, and that's my beat. You know,
Do
I don't know
you
how to do
do
it.
you remember it at that moment, or do you write it down, or do you tell Demi, write this down, please? Is somebody dictating something here?
No, I actually the very first song I think I wrote for Demi is Latin pop, and now we turned it into a cumbia. It's called Quiero Vivir Enamorada. And I was on my way to the Woodlands, from Houston to the Woodlands, and I remember calling Mike and telling him, "Hey, Mike," and he goes, "What you got?" And right in the middle, he'll just pick up a guitar, and I sang it to him, and he goes, "It's done. Like, here we go." And lo and behold, before we knew it, then the arrangement, the heavy duty stuff, which is what Jesse and Demi and JC do in the studio. I sit there. I love the creative process of it, but it's just something. And I talk to them, and I tell my husband, "What do you think?" Or I'll tell JC, "What do you think about this lyric?" And we're really that particular song that I'm speaking about, "Quiero Vivir Enamorada." was one that I asked Emmy, do you feel these words? Because if you don't feel certain things, you're not going to be able to interpret it. And man, when we release it, hopefully soon, it was just a beautiful, beautiful track that they all brought to life with Emmy's vocal on it.
Yeah.
Demi, do you feel that um, that it's important to have, like my mom says, tienes que tener el sentido. You have to have, my mom can read notes and she can just have the ear for music. Do you have the same quality, the same gift, Demi?
Um, I think that I've been influenced enough that and guided enough by my family that I think I do. I think I do. And not only with just with words, with lyrically, but I think musically. Because I'm very honest when I say that before I'm a singer, I'm a musician. I was a musician before I ever started to sing. Singing just kind of came after all of that. So I put a lot of my emotions more where the melody goes, where the
Yeah.
chord progression follows, and where that goes. That's where I feel it the most. Of course, lyrically, it just adds on top of it, right? It follows the color of the song,
Right.
and that's how I've always visualized music with colors, and so that's how I'm able to feel it, and I guess emote it when I'm singing it. But it did come secondary. I'm not gonna lie. It did come secondary. I had to kind of teach myself that the words matter.
Well,
It's not just the music,
well,
but
you have an instrument in front of you. I mean, I play the guitar a little bit, and my mom says, "Oh, cámbiale ahí, mija, cámbiale ahí." And
yeah,
so I kind of thought I want to ask Demi and see how challenging that is to her, because you don't only play, let's see your vocals, you play the guitar, the violin. I mean, you have to make changes to all this when you're playing and you're listening to the band.
yeah. It does take you have to kind of switch a flip, or
Uh-huh.
flip a switch rather.
Yeah.
You have to flip a switch whenever you're changing instruments and stuff. But it comes with a lot of discipline, a lot of practicing, a lot of practicing, a lot of practicing. I mean, I'm talking late nights, bloody fingers,
Yeah.
calluses. It's hard. It's hard. It's not for the weak. But it's what I love, and it's what they taught me. And my dad. I mean, I had to have a master musician as a father.
Yeah.
I have a lot to live up to. I've never been pressured. That's something that I've been asked a lot, is do you feel pressure from your family to do this? And while I feel pressure to live up to what they have put forth in front of me, absolutely, there's pressure there. But I've never been pressured to be a musician. Like, you have to do this. So it's always been more of a, I just want to do this with them because I love my family. And look, speaking of Mr. Dude,
Mr. Master Musician.
they're speaking of my daddy. There he is.
Hi, Dad.
We were
Welcome.
just talking
Mike,
about Mike
he is the guitarist, right?
and the
Yes, sir.
keyboard
And
and
the
the bass
arranger.
player.
He's
Nationally acclaimed guitarist. I mean, he's been to Carnegie and just, woo, just topped it off with
and everything.
yes, of course. Welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
He's also a member of Victrola 5, and congratulations to all
Thank
the
you.
accomplishments. Back to Demi. It's funny how you said that, Demi, because I had that question here. I wrote it down. I said,
Yeah,
um,
it's a common. People ask me that just because I'm their daughter,
Right.
stepdaughter, niece, and so it's kind of the next generation within the family of keeping forward with the culture of Tejano, and not just Tejano, but just music in general.
right.
So,
Well,
so
excuse me for the lighting. It's a little bit dark in here for me. I know it looks like I'm out in Florida or somewhere,
no,
uh,
you are
in a, in a cruise or something.
Let's pretend.
yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
Do not be deceived, okay? But I was looking at my question here. Do you feel, and I'm working backwards now. This is what I said, ask, do you feel your expectations are a load being that you are the youngest? And I'm glad you answered that before I even asked, because you're on top of it, girl. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah. Well, yeah. Just to kind of reiterate, yeah, it's a lot to live up to.
Right,
It's a
right.
lot to live up to, but at the same time, it's such a huge learning experience. I mean, I'm lucky to be in this position to where I have these musicians around me and these songwriters, incredible businesswomen. So I get all of these different, aspects of the industry.
Mhm,
I get, the objective business part right here. I get the subjective artistry on this side.
mhm.
And it's wonderful. It's a great combination to have. And I think that's where I can differentiate myself as an artist from other artists in the industry is I have such a unique background.
Mhm.
And I have the best support system in the world.
I mean, you recently recorded a song who was written by your grandmother, Linda La Norteña,
Hmm.
Aventura de mi vida.
Yes, yes. So that was a personal choice. When Robert Durantes from Aviso reached out to me,
Mhm,
and he wanted to include me on their return album called Marching On. And he asked, well, do you have any ideas? And my grandmother has always been, as well as all of my grandparents, because my paternal grandparents are also musicians and songwriters, very talented,
mhm,
and they taught me a lot as well. But whenever it came time to record a song with Aviso, Aventura de mi vida, I love all of my grandmother's songs, but just something about Aventura de mi vida has always just hit me, like, and I don't know if it's just thinking of my grandmother going through this part of her life where she was going through what she went through in the lyrics, and visualizing her going through this. And so when I brought the song to Robert Durantes and Ralph Garcia, they were like, absolutely, because at that time I hadn't heard my grandmother sing that song yet. I didn't know that there was a record of her singing that song, so I only had my tia Elsa's version to go off of because my tia Elsa also recorded this song and
mhm.
she did it beautifully. And so when I recorded Aventura de mi vida, um, by the time I went into the studio, I had discovered my grandmother's version, and so I kind of changed the way I did it a little bit for my tia and more towards the way my grandmother sang the melody, because
Mhm.
my grandmother sings it different than my tia did. And I just, my tia did her justice to her version, and I wanted to do my grandmother's version.
Of
Yeah.
course,
So
you're all different, but you're all the same,
yeah,
in so many ways. And the attachment there is your grandmother, of course, and that is what a fortunate thing to have. I still have my mother, and my mom's going on 90, and she's just,
mhm,
I still sit with her till right now, and I tell mom, I'll ask her questions because she doesn't talk that much anymore, but
yeah,
I tend to ask her questions that I want to know so that I can have in my heart,
sure,
when she does leave us,
sure.
and then she says, "Te voy a decir una historia, mija," and she'll start, and I'll even get,
Yeah.
and I'll start
Oh yeah,
repeating,
those moments are very special. And
Yes,
I remember when I played Aventura, the version that I recorded for my grandmother, and she asked, who's singing on that, and I told her, I was like, Grandma, it's me. And she was just like, oh wow, like, and that was all the validation I needed, because at that time she was already in her older age as well, and wasn't really speaking that much. But whenever I would sing to her, or any of us would sing to her, she would brighten up, and I'm talking word for word, would know the lyrics, would know, she would start harmonizing, and it was just this turn. I mean,
right,
it was
yeah.
beautiful.
It's just like they tend to forget stuff, but then when it all comes back to them, I'm
Yep.
like, wait a minute,
No, music is
you're,
so
she,
important,
she,
and I did that with my other grandmother as well. That I was her caretaker, my mammal. I would sing to her, and I mean, word for word, just out of nowhere. I'm like, girl, where'd this come
right.
from? You coming out of nowhere. It's a beautiful thing, music.
That's
Bring,
that's the beauty about music, is that it gives you attachments.
yeah, for
The
sure.
the recalls are there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and of course, you have Con tu amor, uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, you have
I
that song. Tell us a little bit about that song. Who wrote the song, Demi?
So Con tu Amor was written by my dad's brother, my uncle Chiro, Vincent Garcia. And so in Rosenberg, my dad's family had the Garcia band that consisted of all of my tias and tios and my grandmother and grandfather. And he wrote the song Con tu Amor along with my dad. And that was back in the 80s. And so when my dad brought that song to me, I remember I was actually in the hospital, and my dad, would bring the guitar and we would sing and stuff. And he brought that song up to me, and when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, dude, that song's awesome! Like that's beautiful." And it became what it became. It just kind of snowballed. We thought about David Lee, and David Lee agreed to record with us, and it was just a huge blessing. And
Demi, I'm going to play the song. You guys tell me if it's loud enough, okay? Or if it's too loud, just let me know. Turn it down, turn it up, okay?
okay.
Because I do want the audience to listen to the song.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Demi Garcia's song. She sings Con tu Amor, so look out for it. It's on all digital platforms. Check it out. I know that you will enjoy it.
We make USAA for homeowners who like being ready. That's why we have safety tips for things like fires. Home security.
Can you hear it? Do I need to turn it up? Is it
Fine.
good?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Is there do you have someone else on the vocals?
So the vocals, I'm doing the lead vocals, and then my background vocals are my Tio JC. And then I also have the original singer of Con tu Amor, who is my tia on my dad's side, my tia Loni. She would sing the part that I'm singing actually in the song. She was the lead singer of the band at the time. And
How
so,
come I don't hear JC?
oh, you hear him? He's there. You feel him. That's it. It
I
says,
know. I guess maybe I really didn't pay. I never thought that you were on this one, JC, but that's good to know.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do a lot of background vocals. That's actually my passion. I love that. So with Elsa, I did all her background vocals, and Demi, and wherever they'll take me, I'll do it. Yeah.
He
Well,
is.
you know, I'm in love with your voice. You're harmonizing. I've always told him that.
Yeah, nobody beats my Theo's harmonies.
Never.
Nobody in this entire world ever convinced me of that. He is the absolute best harmonizer and the most beautiful freaking singer.
Yeah.
And I'm not being biased either. If he sucks, I'll tell him.
Yeah.
You know why I say that is because I like to harmonize too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
then,
perfect.
and this is, I hit a left field and they're like, wait a minute, come back over here.
Well, Dina, you would fit perfectly here in my house tomorrow because tomorrow I always cherish the times that I spend with my brother. Most time is he and I alone, and whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, which we celebrate in my family, we celebrate it here tomorrow. Tomorrow he will make his infamous mole. It's just incredible.
JC's the cook.
JC's the
Oh
cook,
man,
the best, the best. And
Nah, I don't believe him.
Do you have a brother?
yeah, I get lucky because I get to put on music from Gloria Stefan to we love salsa music a lot too. My mom taught us all kinds of music.
Yeah.
But I get to hear all his harmonies while he's cutting up the chicken or making the frijoles a la charra, and I'm just like in heaven. I'm like, I wish I could sing like him,
I know. I wish I could too. I wish I could hear what he hears because it's.
I mean, honestly, I didn't hear him in the background. Well, now I do. Just like with No Importa Llorar,
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It arrives at, you just do something different. You
Yes,
change
he
it a
does.
little bit. It doesn't always sound the same, JC.
That's awesome. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, what a gift. What a gift. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, not too long. Well, let me see. It's been.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
Where's
See how
that?
awesome that sounds? It wants to be heard. Okay, it wants to be heard.
I'm like, where's that coming from? Yeah, there she is, Demi. Mhm. It's a nice
Yeah,
bunch.
and we had some great musicians on this song. With my stepdad Jesse on drums, and then my dad on practically everything else. And then we had Carlos Maldonado de Grupo Fuerte. He's on bajo. He's a
Uh-huh.
beautiful bajo player, absolutely beautiful bajo player. We had Rick Rios on saxophone. He's the saxophone player for David Lee now. It's just it just came out wonderful.
Yes,
and
it
and
is.
and it was a great process. Being in the studio with David Lee. I mean, who gets to do that? You know what I mean? Like, I can say I was in the studio with David Lee, and it's just awesome. It's awesome.
And not only that, it's such a well-written song. Mike's family did an amazing job writing this. I mean, kudos to him and his family. I mean, for real. The song was originally a slow song, and now you hear it as a ranchera. The vision behind that was Mike. I mean, he heard it differently. He wanted to make it more contemporary, taking something old. Again, Dina, going back to what we originally talked about, taking something that's old and making it contemporary, just bringing a little bit of modern flair to it.
Right.
You know.
And,
So,
with that said, I wanted to add a note to that. Um, what do you are you in sync with the new Tejano? What you think should be out there? How did you add the contemporary piece to No Importa Llorar? I know already, but you tell me.
well, again, I think it wasn't just me, Dina. It was the entire group. It was the entire group together. I don't think any of the releases that we've done so far, or any of the future releases which are coming, and we'll make sure you get your copy. I think that it was a group effort. We all come. Demi's the one that probably brings the most contemporary sound to it, and the vision to it. But us, we're old souls. We grew up in the music, and we just try and make it sound the way we feel it. And I think that Mike and Jesse, my husband, I think that what they've done with the music is incredible. You hear that, and I can still remember certain pieces where Mike said, "We need to put this in here." Hey Jesse, what do you think about this? Or Jesse, vice versa to Mike. Bringing in Rick Rios was a big deal, and I mean, we can only again Grupo Fuerte, Carlos Maldonado. He's old school. I grew up with him at my mom's nightclub. We've been friends that long, so we kind of all know each other. And when I say we take the old stuff and bring it to the forefront. If you listen to the song where JC was the lead, which was the very first song that I wrote. What was that?
Lo que te prometí.
Lo que te prometí. You know how it starts with an old feel kind of stuff. The
Yes.
reason we released that one first is because it's exactly what I was talking about. We take the old. We grew up with Trio Los Panchos, all of those old Pedro Infante. I mean, I can go on and on. Chelo Silva, Lidia Mendoza, Juan Salazar. I mean, all the old Los Cadetes de Linares, Rigo Tobar, who did magnificent cumbias in his day. So we grew up with all of that, and we just tried to make it a little bit more contemporary. That's just it. It just happened. I
Who
don't know
came
how
up
to explain it.
who came up with the name Victrola 5?
Why? The reason for that, this is very simple.
Who
Uh,
who
uh,
did all of you guys together thought about the name Victrola
yes,
5?
yes. And the reason we did that, when we said Victrola, I remember the Victrola that was in my mom's nightclub, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we used to hear the very first Tejano songs that we heard were Snowball and Company, I think, was
Mm-hmm.
some of the
And
first,
Little Joe.
and Little Joe. And then we had Cadetes de Linares in there, totally different genres of music. And then we used to go to this restaurant where we would hear country music and whatever, right? Well, we thought about the name Victrola, that we were like a Victrola because we haven't released music, but Demi has Latin rock music that we wrote. We have rancheras, we have norteño, we have cumbias,
Mariachi.
we have mariachi. In addition, and in addition to that, we have children's music. My brother and I wrote children's books. We have 5 books. We haven't released them yet, but all of them have music. And even then, Mike, who looks really bored over there,
You're listening.
Knows the story already. We're gonna get to you in a minute, Mike.
Just a minute, Mike. He and Jesse, my husband, were both, all four of us were like, okay, we need to put music to these children's books, right? So we started doing that. And we wrote them bilingual. So, if you take all the genres of music that we've written, it's like a Victrola. You take your pick. What do you want? You want Latin rock? We got it. Do you want Tejano? We got it. Do you want children's music? We got it. Do you want English music? We got it. It was that. So we're like a Victrola. You punch in whatever you want, and we're gonna produce
Right.
for you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
Dang
we're
it.
about.
Hell yeah.
Well, then Demi, being the youngest of all of you guys, who has the most patience?
Yeah.
Honestly, I really think it's
I
me.
think
Yeah, I
it's
think it's
JC.
still JC.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No
You
doubt.
have all the qualities, JC.
Hey, look, you got to be patient with these people. I'm telling you.
Because I'll be in the booth and I'll just be like, okay, one more time.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, okay,
Let's do it again.
Let's do it
Let's do
again.
it again.
Let's do it again.
So what's your agenda for tomorrow? Will you guys be singing some of these songs, or are you going to be
Absolutely.
are you going to be navigating into your mind about something else, brainstorming on what's coming up, or will you guys say, okay, we got to stop, let's just visit, then we'll get to the drinks later, and then we'll get to singing? Is that what happens, or just as a family, or what's your mingling night like?
I think it's about the family, really. You bring my sisters together with all of us here, and you have Elsa, and you have we all our nieces and nephews will be here, and so it's just about family, and then whatever we play, everybody's gonna jam to it, and we're gonna eat, and we're gonna just have a good time together.
Mike, will you bring your instrument?
I actually have to work tomorrow. So.
Oh, you have to
Yeah,
work.
but there's always if ever we need some music, Mike he's got his guitar all the time. I tell Mike, and I've always said this before, is that Mike, even if a guitar is missing strings, he's gonna make that guitar sound incredible.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Nobody better.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible how he can take a guitar, any guitar, and really put so much feeling to it. It sounds incredible. His fingers are crazy. I don't know.
He brings it to life, literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Mike, you went to college.
Yes.
And you received a degree in music, because I know you performed at the Carnegie Hall in New York.
I did. I went to Blinn in San Jac and half a year to U of H. I did not finish and get my degree. Pretty close to it though, but I was very fortunate to be on stage with we got chosen for the jazz band of the United States, the U.S.
Right.
chosen to perform in Carnegie Hall with some big top jazz artists, Bill Evans, from New York, and some bigwigs, and that was an experience I won't forget.
Mm-hmm. Well, I bet you anything, if you were to go to a professor and you could probably get your credits just by performing.
I'm actually currently working on that right now. So
are you really?
Oh yes, I'm working.
Maybe you won't even have to go through the whole entire class. Just take your guitar and.
Well, I'm working on my.
To tell them all the history of music. Is that what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of my past credits are going to transfer over. I know it's been a while, but they will transfer over because I'm actually working on my fire degree as well. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
That's an accomplishment. Thank you so much for your service, Mike.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Mike, do you want to add anything to the music excellence that's going on in with Victrola 5?
I mean, I could just pretty much just echo a little bit of what they were talking about with Lynn and JC and Demi and Jesse. All of them. We kind of have a little bit of magic to us, and Lynn writes lyrics, and she, like she said, we get together. We're family, of course, number one. Then, of course, the music comes in, and that's one thing when we did Con Tu Amor and all the other tracks, Lo Que Te Prometí. One of the biggest things is that we we are, how can I say it? We are like the people, the viewers looking at different bands. I'm a dancer. I love to go to dances and look at other bands. And if a band can make me want to dance, I mean, get out there and want to dance, then they're doing something right.
Right.
So to me, when we were doing these songs and arranging and writing these songs, it was that we have to make this song danceable, alegre,
Mhm.
and it has to be. I remember we were right there in the studio. What's the tempo? Well, let's no, no, let's try dancing to it, you know, and that's how we did all the songs, really. And they have to be alegre. You know, you don't want to put in all this crazy stuff that people won't understand to. It has to be very easy listening to the common ear for the public, because people get bored and people want to be able to sing your songs. And so you really have to arrange it and produce it that way to where it's easy listening to the common ear. And so I feel that we did a excellent job on doing that. These songs came out spectacular, and I commend Lynn on the lyrics and you know, all that stuff, man. And it just came out really well. And once again, I say that we have a magic to it that, you know, she brings these songs, and to me, I'm at home by myself, or I try doing something. I cannot write a song in my head. But then when we get together, man, it just comes together, and it's like we can pretty much arrange an entire song in one day,
Yeah.
and it'll come together. And I was like, hey, let's go to the studio, let's record this,
Mhm.
and it just comes out. And it's just, I like I said, once again, it's just the magic that's in our family here.
And you're Demi's father.
Yeah, I think.
Hey, that's
she does.
Okay.
She does. She
Did
does
you?
have that forehead like me, I guess. But you know,
I know. I know.
I think this forehead gives it away. That's my daddy.
yeah, I got that five head, I guess you can call it. But you know, yes, I'm her Faja, what she calls me. But yeah,
Yeah.
she's my little, she's my little mini me.
Aw.
Love that kid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, Dina. Whenever I made my dad a shirt, and whenever we were in Vegas, and on this upcoming cruise we're about to go host, he wears a shirt that says Demi's dad on it, and it has my picture.
Aw.
So
Yeah.
that being said, it was funny because you know, aside from playing with Elsa in Vegas, I was on stage with Jennifer Pena.
Uh-huh.
And man, I could hear people in the crowd screaming, Demi's dad. I was like, oh my God. It's Mike. It's Mike.
Like my dad has his own badass career, and he's known as Demi's dad. I'm like,
I
come
know it's
on,
Demi's dad.
man.
Yeah. So that's who I am now.
Yeah.
Oh, what's your name? Oh, I'm Denny's dad. Okay, thank you
You
very much.
performed with Roberto Pulido. Is there anything you can tell us? What if you did you pick up anything from Roberto Pulido?
Man, actually, I picked up a lot from Roberto.
Did
So,
you tell us one thing you picked up from Roberto?
man, I picked up the drive as far as the. I've always loved Roberto Pulido, the Latin breed, all that orchestra stuff. You know, the fast pace, Little Joe and stuff.
Mhm.
But Roberto Pulido, when I played with him, the bass player and the drummer, David Vidaldi and Jesse Reina, and of course Leonel Pulido, all the musicians in there, man, they had this connection and this drive. And the the guitar player that I replaced, his name was Lupe Flores, fantastic guitarist. So it was one of those things. I had some shoes to fill, but man, I learned a lot on the way as far as phrasing, how to do not too much, stay in the pocket, you know, stay in this little circle,
Mhm.
and so that's what I learned as far as you know, it's one band, one sound. That's very important. Try not to be a soloist inside of a band to show off. You got to make it sound as one, and so that's what makes it a good arrangement, a good song, and a good band.
So in your teens, you played with your father, with Vincent Garcia and
That's
and
correct.
your uncles
Yes.
at local events. And I'm sorry, it's a little dark in here, and I can't really see the paper very well. But I think that's I think that's correct.
So I was actually 13 years old, and I was playing at a club called Los Troncos there in Houston, off of Fondren. I think Fondren or Fulton. I have no I don't remember. I was little, and my dad allowed me to play because he played in the band also. And I was playing bass, and I was just a little kid, and I was standing right behind him. And sure enough, all I remember is glasses flying all over the place, and
Oh,
all the fights and stuff, and of course all the drinking. But
uh-huh.
yeah, I grew up playing with my dad, and of course with my brothers, and which was fantastic. It's great. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Great. And of course, you're collaborating with David Lee Garza, all of you, of course, as a band too. He's working with you guys on Victrola 5. Will he be your accordionist throughout your project?
Think
Yes.
We can answer that. Yeah.
Yes and no. We've already recorded, I guess, 5, 6 songs with David Lee.
Right.
At this point. We've
Mhm.
already got 5 or 6 down. We're going to be releasing the CD, or an extent EP, whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh.
And he's already on several of those tracks.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
And
we also have other accordionists that we absolutely love. It's not just when we work with Andres Nava as well, an incredible accordion player.
He was the accordionist on my other single, Mariposas,
Mhm.
and that's Andres Nava, and he's
now that one was written by, I think I read it was written by your father and your mother, right?
Yep, that was written by my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it actually started off as like a Latin rock, Latin pop, like contemporary pop song, and then we changed it to a cumbia, and so yeah, that's what it became. Mariposas.
I'm going to jump on to JC. We want to listen to the song Lo que te prometí. I'm sure we'll get it on the background. It'll pop up in a little bit.
Yeah.
JC, what an incredible, I don't want to call it just a job because it's not a job, but the way, you're representing Victrola 5 and the way the Victrola sounds at the beginning of the song, a little scratched, or it's like you're winding the Victrola.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Actually, you guys, I have a Victrola. I have an old one. The
We
one.
do too. Look, can you see it?
Yeah,
Let's see.
Here it is.
Yeah, mine. I have. Yeah, the box is about that big too, and I wind it, and of course, yeah, I put the hand is really heavy, so I have to be real careful, and then I'm like, okay, what speed am I going to go on? 33.
Mhm.
Pretty interesting how how you put the needle on there and you know exactly where the tune is, where you're going to hear the fine tune of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just the way that the song starts, it sounds so romantic.
Yeah. And so old school, right? So
Yeah.
vintage,
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then when it starts with da 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 da, I can't think of it, but what is that? What instrument is that at the beginning with the Victrola?
The rinquito guitar.
Is that rinquito? Yes, I was gonna say, yeah. Who's playing the rinquito there?
That's my
Wow.
dad.
You, Mike? Oh wow, I love the way you started that, and I'm sure everybody else does.
Thank you.
With Lo que te prometí, JC, there is other songs that you're coming up with a CD as well, right? You're breaking out with something soon.
Yeah, it's all part of Victrola 5. We're all, whether it's, a song that I sing by myself with Victrola 5, or if we do like a duet, Lynn and I did the
Well,
duet.
good. I'm glad you're telling me that because I didn't know that. I
Okay.
was thinking that you were going to do your own.
Solo artist. Yeah.
And then maybe it's because like last year it was Lo que te prometí, and then it was JC Almanza,
Yeah.
just as well with the audience as myself. I was trying to put one and one together. How is this going to work out? So the song is going to be in the LP as well.
Yes. It is Victrola 5, basically. But because I was singing by myself, it just felt, it would be a good idea to release it like that. And I think it did great. Like I love the fact that you remember it and you get the same feelings that we got when we started to produce it, and have the record player thing, that old school sound of those trios like Lynn had mentioned.
Yes.
It reminds us of our mom back then,
Right.
because that's what we grew up listening to.
Yeah, we have so much in common as far as that goes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my mama Chavela used to play the guitar, and everyone in Hurley says, you know, she was it. She was, I think she may have been even better than Mike.
I'm pretty sure.
He's not serious anymore. I like that smile, Mike.
Now he's
No,
smiling.
I apologize. I'm kind of listening
That's
to the
okay.
radio.
I
So
just thought I'd throw a little fun there. Yeah, my mama Chavela, of course, we called her Mama Chavela. I was about a couple of years old when she passed away, but she played the guitar as well.
Wow.
Yes, it's
One
awesome.
one day, Lynn, I'll send you a picture of my Mama Chavela.
I would love to see that.
Yes.
That's where it all started for you too, Dina.
Yes,
You're
of
just
course.
in the music, you know?
Play the accordion. She used to play the accordion. She still has her huge piano. It's over at my son's house, and she says, "Mijita, llévame para allá a ver si." She's got arthritis. She says, "A ver si puedo," you know, if she can do a little bit, but
Yeah.
hardly not. But you know, she does that with her fingers as she's watching TV or she's listening to music. But she did play the accordion. She also played the guitar and vocals as well.
Wow.
And of course, they had a bar. You know, they grew up in they built a salon from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Like my mom.
Just
We
like
have a
mom
lot.
did. Yeah.
We have a lot of things in common, I guess, huh?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. It was called El Pénjamo.
El Pénjamo.
That was the name of the salon. There's a city in Mexico called El Pénjamo, and they were trying to figure out what to name the place. And my uncle went out there. He was going to run the bar, and he went out there with his wife. They went on vacation to Mexico, and he said, we went into this pueblito, you know, where the tarahumaras, they were really short, and it was called El Pénjamo. And of course, you probably heard the song, Ya llegamos al Pénjamo. So he came home and he told my papa, this is what we're going to name the place.
Wow.
Nice.
Cool story.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not about me. It's about you guys. Just connecting there with you guys, and just this endearment that I have with you guys. I'm so excited to.
We have a lot in common. That's for sure.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. And I haven't touched bases with Jesse yet, but Jesse, the cardboard boxes and the digital. And I'm trying to figure out, was there a box as big as a refrigerator? Which one was the smallest, and which one, you know, did the best? Or how did you bring all you know, the drum beats together with all these cardboard boxes? That's really a neat story. Can you touch on that for us, please?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I had an interest in drums since I was like really, really young, and I actually didn't get my first drum set till I was 14. But from the age of like 10 to 14, I would just play on whatever. And my dad's a carpenter, and the shoe molding that goes around the corners of the floor on the edges, I used to tell him to cut some for me because I didn't know where to buy drumsticks. And in those days, in the late 70s, early 80s, there was no Guitar Center where you could take your kid to go buy a pair of drumsticks or whatever. So I just did whatever I had to do. And it just seemed to me that by watching videos or whatever, I used to play on my knees, of course, because I didn't have a stool. So it just seemed like I would just, and the boxes were just like Tom's. My mom would take me to the Walgreens or the Kroger there in Rosenberg, and in the back of the dumpster, they would literally put the boxes. I mean, they wouldn't crush them or anything. So I would get small boxes, and they would go from smaller to bigger, and that was kind of my drum set. And like I said, my dad was a carpenter, so he had saw blades, like from the table saws and the skill saws, and those were my cymbals because number one, they were round. Yeah, they were sharp, so you had to be careful. But they actually made a sound when you would hit them, you know, like a bing. And it didn't matter what it sounded like because they bought me a boom box because I was also, I thought I was a break dancer, you know, and back then he used to have the big boom box that he would carry like that, you know. So I would just put that on the side and put like a Prince cassette on, and it was really loud. So I just thought that, I mean, I just, it felt like I was playing the drums. And that set me up to where by the time I was able to actually sit on a drum set, I went like, oh man, it was totally different than what I thought. But I already sort of had I had the ability to sort of go around the drum set, and I just had to.
I'm taking it there was music in the house all the time.
Not really, but the reason I got in my family is not musical at all.
Oh,
some of my dad's cousins, maybe one or two that played, but it wasn't like a big family thing where they would get around and everybody would sing. But I'm from Rosenberg as well, same city as Mike is from. And I used to live in Torres Ballroom. I don't know if you ever heard of Torres Ballroom in Houston, Texas. One of my aunts, my mom's sister, was dating Frankie Torres, who was Mr. Torres' son. So I mean, Little Joe, La Mafia, La Sombra, Ternura, all the bands from the early 80s, late 70s, even into like 85, 86, La Mafia, everybody would go to Torres. So that's actually where I first was able to actually sit on the drum set, was at Torres Ballroom, because the drummer ended up not being able to show up. And I said, hell, I'll play. I didn't even know how to play. They only let me play one song because I was so horrible, you know. But at least I got up there and played, and then the drummer ended up getting out of the band, and I went to Torres every day. My mom would drop me off every day to practice because they would open the door for me. And in a couple of weeks, I was already ready to play. So even though music wasn't in my house, I was at a ballroom every weekend. So I was able to see it. And yeah, it was cool. And I was just a good kid. I was quiet. My parents were out going to dance, and they knew that I would go to this ballroom and I wouldn't be trying to drink people's beer or steal their cigarettes or anything. I was just there to strictly look and watch and learn. So
You were fascinated with the drums. Do you have someone that inspired you? Someone that at the top of your head, at Tejano?
oh yeah.
That you
The
can
first guy that comes to mind is Adam Mosquera from La Mafia, because he was like the original La Mafia with Ella and all them songs, Tu Tu Mi Solo Tu. So he's the original. And then La Mafia was graced and lucky enough to get Michael Aguilar when Adam got out. And I mean, those two guys are just, they're my two favorite. But my absolute favorite is Ricky Reyes.
Ricky Reyes. I was waiting for you to say Ricky Reyes.
He was like 4 foot nothing, and he just played with so much power, and he didn't move that much.
Who does he play with? I don't.
With Little Joe.
Oh,
Yeah, he played with Little Joe back in the all through the 80s, I believe, and then even the beginning of the 90s. Yeah, so those guys are really great. And
Hey, Dina.
What's that?
Hey, Dina.
yes.
If I might just kind of add something right here that Jesse said, and I know this is Jesse's time and all this, but this is something that he's failing to say, is that, you know, he's calling Michael Aguilar one of his you know, he looks up to him. Well, Michael Aguilar, talking to him, he looks up to Jesse now.
Yeah.
And that's what's amazing about it. Talking with Michael Aguilar, that's all he can say. And I don't want to say the word cuss word, but he is saying, well, Jesse's bad, man. Jesse's bad. And so when, you know, you can have somebody like that saying, and Jesse's doing something really good. He's doing something good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that. I'm sorry, Jesse.
Hey, thank you so much, Mike. Thanks for adding that, because I don't think Mike, I think he wants to give the credit to everybody else, but Jesse,
Yeah.
I mean, you are amazing. You were fascinated and you were determined.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
And let's go back to Rosenberg real quick, because I wanted to break in, because I try not to talk too much, because once I start, you're not going to shut me up. When speaking of the song Con Tu Amor, I remember in the 80s being from Rosenberg. I didn't even know Lynn or Mike or anybody. I just knew of the Garcia family band because they were a band that was in Rosenberg, Richmond, from that area. And I would go watch them, but I never went up to the band because I just started playing and I really admired them a lot and all that good stuff. Well, that song came out on the radio on KFRD, which was a Rosenberg radio station. And I remember hearing it, and it was a ballad. And I think you guys recorded that in your living room, Mike, right, Mike?
We pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, which was cool, you know, because it back in those days, you just had to do whatever you had to do to record. But I thought that when Mike brought that song to the table and he's like, hey, we're going to record this song, I just kind of stayed quiet, because I could only imagine what it meant for Mike and Demi and Mike's family that we were going to take this on. And that's kind of like a treasure to his family. So I'm sure he had to talk to his brother and say, hey, bro, we're going to record this song. And it was one of those things, you know, I know it was kind of hard for Mike too. Hey, we're going to record this song, but none of y'all are going to be involved. We're going to do it on our own. And then to bring Lonnie in to be a part of it, that just sort of added the icing on the cake. But we really had to do that song justice because it was that's a treasure, that song right there.
Yeah, and just real quick, speaking of my tia Loni, having her on this track with us, for me specifically, was super special. Because my tia Loni she's a musician before she's a singer as well. And, for a female in this industry to be a musician, it's very rare. And she's an incredible musician. On top of that, incredible bass player, incredible piano player, incredible guitar player. And when I would go to her house on the weekends for her to I guess insinuate on me how important it is to be a musician and to be a good one, and a respectable one as a female. I really give credit to her for I guess pushing me towards being a musician as opposed to wanting to be front and center all the time. Because I love just the love of the music from the music part of it itself. A lot of it came from my tia Loni. So for her to be a part of a song that she recorded previously and for to be a part with us is a huge full circle moment. So I just want to give credit to her, where that's due, because she's wonderful, man. Yeah.
When are you due to release the album?
Well, we're actually finishing up the last song. Mike, I think you have it already. He's just
I'll have it ready. Yes.
You do, yeah. So we'll probably be releasing February, early February, definitely in the month of February. Yeah.
So in the album, you're going to have, of course, Lo que te prometí, and then No importa llorar, and any of Demi's?
On that one, no, we don't have any. These are all the lead vocals on all the ones that we released, because that's the way the project started. Will all be JC's vocals. Yeah, they could be the lead singer.
Where's Elsa?
Elsa's her own thing.
For Elsa at all, for Elsa Garcia, and some of the people might say, "Hey, Ed, what are you talking about, Elsa?" I mean,
Well, I will talk about Elsa and tell you one thing. Everyone here, Victrola 5, everyone took part in bringing Elsa back. Mike at Nortex was her guitar player. JC, of course, was on stage with her. Jesse was playing drums. He's the leader of the band. My nephew, Elsa's son, little Victor, was the percussionist playing the congas. Then we have Carlos Maldonado playing the bajo. We had Mr. T, and you know what, we call him Mr. T, but his name is Faustino, on bass. He's an incredible, incredible bass player. We're so blessed to have him. And we had Abraham on accordion. And I'll just go ahead and break that news here on the show with you. We will be releasing the live recording on Music World Latin. Elsa's performance at Nortex Live will be a live release. That will be our release. Yeah.
I'm sure
we don't stand a chance, against Elsa Garcia, but right around that time, we're going to try and make it happen, make it all work.
Yes. Will Elsa be joining you guys tomorrow for Christmas Eve?
Absolutely. We lost my oldest sister and my mother 6 months apart, approximately 2 years ago. And as life would have it, I just like to think that it has something to do with my mom and my sister. We are closer now than we've ever been as a family.
Yes, it does bring
it
does bring people together, don't they?
Yeah, and you know what? And I'll be honest with you, the one that was most insistent, we get together every week. Without fail, we get together every week as siblings. There's only 4 of us now. But we get together every weekend just to celebrate being siblings and to vent and to talk to each other and to encourage each other, to be there for each other. And it's something that, man, I'll tell you what, Dina, sometimes through grief and hurtful things that happen, life finds a way to bring you closer together. And that's what's happened. And we totally support my sister Elsa. I think I can speak again for everybody here, including Mike. We just support her. We want everything that's best for her. We have a few shows coming up that we haven't announced yet, but I think we all stand strong and we stand right there with her. We want her to do what is in her heart, and I know that a lot of her fans, for everybody who's a fan of my sister's, thank you for your support of her. Thank you for your support of Victrola 5, but thank you for bringing her back in such a big way after 25 years. The most successful comeback
Now was that? I know I'm gonna ask this last question. I know you guys are probably so full of answers already, but how did it come about for you to bring Elsa? Was it a kind of like a convincing moment, or did it all just kind of flow and then just come together again? And
I think I'll let JC handle that one.
For years we wanted for her to come back and
uh,
and give her fans a show, because a
right,
lot of people really wanted to see her again. But
uh-huh,
she stayed, like she likes to say it, in her cave. She preferred to just let it all go. She didn't want to do this anymore. So it took a lot of weekends of us getting together, and Lynn, of course, pushing it mainly, and reminding
It was
her.
him. It wasn't me. It was him.
We all really wanted her to come back, and she knew that, but she couldn't. She always told us, "No, I don't want nothing to do with that. No, we already did it. We did." So, they started requesting Elsa throughout all these years, different concerts and promoters and stuff. And Lynn and got a hold of a promoter in Mexico through a friend of ours, Luis Rodriguez, that kind of made the contact with me first, and then with Lynn after, and and they were making her this offer that it was really hard for her to refuse, and Lynn also pushing it to come on, let's do it, and she finally said yes. And
does she have any input on any of your ideas for Victrola 5?
that part of it, no, but for the music, for the children's music, yes, she did. That was she
Okay.
did with that. So,
Hey, Mike, got it,
Mike,
Hey, Mike.
I gotta talk, guys. We gotta go. Sorry.
All
I
right.
think
Host.
this
Be
to you.
careful, Daddy.
I'll take care. Good night.
Careful, Daddy.
Thank you so much for letting me have you on here.
You're welcome. You're quite welcome. Have a happy new year.
Y'all too. Take care.
All right,
Bye,
bye.
Daddy.
And wrapping up our interview this evening, is there anything that you want to tell the audience about Victrola 5? Like the last moments, the last thoughts you want to tell the audience, what you want to leave them with, and Victrola 5.
Thank you.
I do actually. For the audience, anybody that's watching and listening, and if you pull up our music, it the goal for us was to put music out there that was different, that was creative, that was still in the genre of Tejano. And that's really what we want to accomplish, is to make people happy, to listen to it, to dance to it, to hopefully make them feel the feelings that we feel when we listen to our own music that we put
The
together.
bond, the family.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And to bring back that Tejano feel that used to be there in the 90s, and even early 2000s, because right now it's a trying time for Tejano music and the industry in general. So uh, you know we all just really want people to enjoy our music,
And
that
get
we
up and
bring.
dance. And
And
get up and
dance,
dance
yeah.
and sing as loud as you can.
Yeah,
Will
yeah.
you be performing anywhere soon?
Well, that's coming up. So we have Lynn's got some plans for us next year, and the year's coming around a couple of weeks, but we're really looking forward to doing something live with Victrola 5, and along with my sister Elsa Garcia. Lynn already has a couple of shows booked with Elsa, and we're all part of Elsa's band.
Mhm.
And so one way or another, Victrola 5 is
In the house.
is live, and we're going to be backing her up and just doing what we love to do.
Well, I just want to wrap it up. I just want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for taking this time. It takes a lot for members to come together. Everybody's doing something, and I'm sure you all have a job here and there, and you have places you have to go to. But from my heart to yours, I want to wish all of you a happy new year, and I just can't wait for the successful project that you have going together.
Thank you, Nina.
Thank you,
for
Dina.
having us.
We love you, Dina.
God bless you. I love you guys too. Yes, I love you guys too.
Merry Christmas to you and your family, okay?
And to all the listeners, and congratulations on your show.
Thank you so much, Lynn. We will be seeing you guys soon.
Yes, yes, I promise you. We'll keep in touch and we'll get that new music to you. But for now, if you can continue playing our music, it would be wonderful. Ya no me importa llorar, Victrola 5.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. We will be seeing you soon.
All
Thank
righty.
you, Dina.
Thank you, Dina.
Bye,
You
good
take
night.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Take care.
You too.